Good morning, good morning, good morning. I sorry, I had to change my time. I was coming in earlier, but then this is the beginning of the third quarter for us, so I had some stuff that I had to do, and then I moved it to 7:30. No, I moved it from 7:30. I thought it was 10:30, but it's 10 o'clock. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everyone doing this morning? Hi, Bambi. Hi, Gamecock Jenny. They're saying P. Diddy is being getting railroaded. Girl, please. Good afternoon, Kent Tag. I'm listening in the kitchen making two pots of jumbo. Make gumbo probably next week. Good morning, Cranky. Good morning, Tina. Uh, I hope you would cover this live. Which live? Hope you're fine. Island Girl, good morning. Crafting with Amanda, Drea, good morning, good morning, good morning. Susan Dawson, I just got a message that E11's son is fine. Good. Hi, DJ Mendingo. Hi, my DJ Mendingo. But I am going to discuss Diddy a little bit because um what's her name? Thalia Graves. Oh my God. Her ex-boyfriend has let me go to CNN. Her ex-boyfriend has put out the text messages where she was supposedly dating. Oh, I see it. I see it. I see it. I got it. I got it. Okay, so let me grab that. So, yes, I told you he filed an appeal for his bail hearing. Hello? Okay, hold on. I have it. I have it. So, I didn't know he was going to court today. That's how busy I've been, guys. So sorry. But it seems like she was dating that worked for Sean Combs, and she sent him a text message saying that she was going after P. Diddy because he has the money. That's what she said. Ooh, let's see. Sean Diddy comes to appear for spring trial live. Ooh. So he's just okay. He requested that they go to trial in the spring. So this is not about his bail hearing because he did appeal the bail hearing. Um, but he just hold on, I'm looking. So I was also listening to Sophie this morning, and I heard her say um, that JJ and her family were safe. She said that the houses around JJ got hit really bad, but hers was safe. I know Maria told me last night that they had lost power, but they had got the power back. Sweet, I checked on her. I know E11 was frantic. Her son's house is flooding, but he's safe. Um, this was a total disaster. It was a total disaster. Hi, Mickey. Um, so according to another person, Diddy paid them 3.5 million. And then Tony Bugsby had a press conference yesterday, which we were going to discuss. He said some high name celebrities. Oh, I wanted to come on camera. He said some high name celebrities were settling their cases because they didn't want it to come out. It's also stated that we know Homeland Security is actually the one leaking a lot of this information. They said that Diddy, there's a video of Diddy and another mogul that's higher than Diddy, and they're probably going to release that as well. So what they're doing to me is they're doing these press conferences, and then they're putting people on the spot. for them to settle. That doesn't do anything. If you want to bring them out, bring them out. Stop letting them pay people off or settling lawsuits because that shit doesn't work. It doesn't work. Put it all out there. Stop having, excuse me, stop having them hide. Stop having them to hide. But I also wanted to say something else too. So I was listening to Sophie, and someone in her chat said that Jules was involved, the B was involved when TL was driving around Lily's home. Okay. Let me just make myself clear. Well, not clear. The only reason I did not um, add that to what I said last night is because TL was the one that drove by her home. I did not realize Jules was on piano shouting out Lily's address. And yeah, I was in and out of chat, but I didn't realize that. But also, let's not forget that the reason TL drove by Lily's home is because Lily secretly taped TL in her home, gave it to Brooke and JY, and they were on a live threatening TL, which Lily had sent me those recordings trying to convince me that something was wrong with TL. And I called her out on that. I said, what? Oh my God. Oh my God. She has an old people magazine. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. I said, well, oh my God. She's got extension cords on the floor. So I sent those to TL. There was nothing wrong with those recordings at all. But the fact that she went into TL's home and recorded TL without her knowledge was totally fucked up. That would be like me recording Amber when she was at my home, or me recording TL in the hotel when we're together, or them recording me. You don't do that shit. Good morning, Dodge Ram. You just don't do that. So I wanted to add that there, but that's the only reason I didn't mention that, because, and I honestly did not know that Jules was sitting on panel yelling out Lily's address when she was going around telling people that I put her address out. No, I did not. I put a partial address out to show her, hey, bitch, I know where you're at. That's what I did. And then Sophie said, Heidi's not the one. Hi, sweet. I'm glad to see you. She said, I don't believe Heidi's the one that will be sitting outside. No, because I was really going to drive from Texas to Chicago, straight shot. But that's premeditated. That meant I had time to think about what I was doing on that drive. And if I would have carried it out, that was premeditation. Because I could have turned around any time during that drive. I know I wouldn't be sitting outside at all. At all. Hi, ASOP. Oh, sweet. I'm so happy to see you. So I understand that E11's house flooded. I'm sure it's really, really bad. I know E11, I think she took in some water, not sure how much, but hopefully she'll come and let us know what happened and see what we can all get together and do, because this was devastating. I have the pictures of the dome roof, not the pictures, I have the coverage of the dome roof being blown off. This one guy was going to go outside and turn off his pool pump or something, and he just happened to hesitate, and a tornado came straight through that ripped through their roof. The Wells Fargo roof from a block away came through and landed in their yard and messed up their roof. It's just total devastation right now. total devastation.
I gotta call LiveView.
So I'm waiting to see. What time was this supposed to start? See, I've been busy all morning. Is that? No, that's not him. Why are they going to bring him through the front? Why wouldn't they bring him through the back? I don't think they would bring him through the front. His sons might show up through the front. Somebody's coming. His sons will probably show up in the front.
Who is it? Gloria, the female lawyer.
But I don't think he would be the one
Come on, Gloria.
That's coming through the front. But they've all turned around with the cameras aimed. Oh my God. Oh, let me put up my fair use. Hold on. I gotta put up my fair use. Shit. Hold on. Fair use. Wrong one. This is the one that I want.
Somebody said I can't see.
Okay, thank you. I didn't want to put up my Cash App or anything else. Okay, false alarm. Oh, you heard the cops say they're killing themselves. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Let me get my coffee. So I actually got dressed this morning because I had to be on camera, and it pained me to actually run a flat iron through my hair because I really didn't feel like it. And I was on a call at 6:15 this morning, because it's 9:15 at Montreal, and it's like they don't think about the time difference, even though they know I'm normally up and working. They just don't think about the damn time difference. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to change this shit up real quick. Hi, Savage, my baby. Savage. Oh, okay. What does Savage need? She needs some white Henny?
She didn't smell the microphone? Why is she,
Yeah, I bet she would stop again.
Yeah, she'll stop again.
What the hell?
Cameras on their heads. You think they'd have the sense to...
So let's see. It's 10 o'clock, 10:15 here. So it's 1:15 there. Why are they holding this so late? Okay, I'm gonna keep that up, but okay, so let's just talk about this real quick. I'm gonna keep it up and watch and see when he comes, but I want to share this. Replace screen sharing. Let me see how this works. This is what I want to share with you guys. Oh, this is so simple. I can just replace it. I don't have to close out on anything.
Now, charges have just been filed after bone fragments were discovered in the backyard of a home in Wheatfield, Indiana. We've been following this story since last week. Investigators say they first received a report last month that someone had killed 2 children and burned their bodies in a backyard fire pit. 31-year-old Stephen Valle and 25-year-old Samantha Sabella are both charged with murder, neglect, abuse of a corpse, among other charges. CBS News investigator David Savini will have a closer look at this case ahead at 5.
So this is what they did to their child. Let me stop sharing this one. Hold on. So let me go back to share this screen again. Let me show you. Here's the update on the story. This shit is
about
crazy.
A death investigation in northern Indiana that has shaken a quiet community. Multiple agencies, including crime scene investigators and the coroner's office, responded to what appeared to be human remains found in a yard. NBC5's JC Navarrete picks up our coverage from Wheatfield, Indiana. JC.
Mary and Alex, unfortunately, this investigation has taken a very, very dark turn, and that update coming in just a few minutes ago. I apologize for
So let me just tell you, they killed their newborn kids, okay? Newborn kids. And he created a necklace out of the children's ashes. Okay? That's what he did.
Referencing my phone here, but I just want to make sure I get all the details right for you here. I can tell you that this investigation stems from September 20th. That's what the Sheriff's County is telling us here at Jasper, as well as the coroner's office is telling us here. Let's get to the details here because there's a lot to digest this afternoon. The Sheriff's Office tells us that back on September 20th, they received a report here of a person that had confessed to killing two of their children who remain unidentified and burning their bodies in a backyard fire pit in this home behind me. That same day, investigators found those suspects at a hotel in Newton County. They denied all allegations, but their phones were seized and additional evidence was eventually found. Even after this new evidence surfaced, the suspects denied all allegations. At this point, a third child who was in their care was taken by authorities.
Yep.
Just yesterday morning, police returned to the property here with cadaver dogs who pointed to 3 different spots on the property, which came up here as partial bone fragments. Those bone fragments are now being analyzed by a lab in Indianapolis and are pending confirmation. Again, just a very dark turn here from an investigation that stemmed back to September 20th when somebody allegedly confessed to killing their 2 children who have not been identified and burning and digging up their bodies in this backyard. Again, cadaver dogs finding partial bone remains. We're waiting for confirmation from the lab here to find out whether or not they belong to an infant or an animal. When we do learn that, we'll pass it along to you. Of course, as you can imagine, neighbors are just shocked by this revelation. We'll bring you more on their reaction coming up here at 6 o'clock. But for now, I want to send things back to you guys in the studio.
All right, really tough.
Okay, so that's what's going on there. This is really, really sad. So let's see what's going on with Diddy now. I hear a lot of horns blowing. Hold on. Gloria just arrived at court. Why is Gloria here? Gloria is just walking in the court. Hold your camera steady. Hold on, let me go back a little bit. I don't think we missed anything because I was watching. Yep, nothing. We haven't missed anything yet. Except for Gloria walking into court.
Every day, nothing surprises me. Humans are...
His sons have not shown up yet. Let me see if his sons got there earlier. Nope. I don't see his sons getting there. I don't think they would go through the front of the building, though. I really don't think so. I'm just checking, guys, to make sure we haven't missed anything. Wait a minute. What does that say? See, they got people on the back of the courthouse, too, on the side. Okay. Damn, they're on stepping stools and everything. Okay. Okay, we haven't missed much. We haven't missed anything. Now it's spinning. Stop spinning. My fault. Hold on. So again, Tyler Graves has been lying. She's lying. Now, I don't know, but that information has been out for quite some time that she was assaulted. But according to what is being said now, and TMZ is putting it out, and the boyfriend put out the text messages with her asking him, how about 3 mil? So what it says is, Diddy's latest accuser, who's suing him for allegedly and recording it, tried to get her now ex-boyfriend to corroborate her claim by paying him 7 figures, according to the ex. Tyler Graves is suing P. Diddy and his head of security, which I showed Joseph Sherman yesterday or the other day, for allegedly R-ing her back in 2001. She says she was dating one of Diddy's employees who was shown a video of the alleged incident. However, TMZ has seen a November 2023 text exchange between Tyler and the man who was her boyfriend, and in it, she reveals she's planning to sue Diddy because he's the one that has the money. She also offered him $3 million if he agreed to back up her version. And they have the text messages. They reached out to Gloria, and Gloria said, that's why we have the lawsuit, and all will be revealed at that time. Gloria, your client is lying. She offered her boyfriend $3 million to go along with her story. What? And she was crying and crying and crying. Do we believe her? That's what I'm saying, Savage. It makes the real victims not want to come forward. She may not be booed. Wait a minute. Savage, read my message to Heidi. Heidi, but she is lying. Or did Diddy's people pay off the ex-dude? Well, that could be true too, but the message was from 2023. She hadn't planned on suing him then. That's what I'm saying. The message was from 2023. So if she was going to sue him, why didn't she file it when Cassie did? He would have paid her off too. But this message is from 2023. It is hard to fake those tears. I know. Please read your previous. God damn, Tina. Hold on. Your previous message. I thought the same thing. That's asking for someone to pew him. Yeah. Hi, Rosie Posey. Welcome. Hi, Aaron, Tracy, Asox. Okay, here we go, guys. Oh, shit. I did the wrong one. I meant to do you guys so you can catch up. I stay with the fact that Gloria already. Yep, she probably has receipts. But don't we think it's strange that she offered her ex-boyfriend $3 million to back up her story? Gloria will never retire. Okay, the live stream has ended, guys. It's ended. Let me see, can I find another one? Stop sharing. Let's see. CNBC. Let me see if that one has it. but they ended their live stream. So I'm trying to find another one to see. Nope. Everybody has ended their live stream on Diddy. But what do we think? Because I am really curious to know what the hell is going on with this. And let me just go back here. Yeah, CNBC ended their live coverage. Hold on. Sean Combs' third bail hearing. Hold on. But this isn't about his bail. It's not about his bail. And they're actually monitoring him in jail too, just to make sure that he is safe. Do we really? He's in a medical ward. I don't see anybody else with a live feed on this. Let me go back and look. So I'm trying to just think, what do we think about this whole situation? Because 2023, okay, News 18 ended theirs. Ticket TV. How are they inside the courtroom? They're not inside the courtroom. Hold on, let me check this out. They're just doing live commentary. Okay, yeah. Yeah, they're doing live commentary. So they're not in there. But let's look at the aftermath of Milton. Okay, let's do that. Oh my goodness. This is really, hold on. Let me bring this up for you guys real quick. Here we go. Hold on. Let me stop this and let me share. Okay, here we go.
Hey there, everyone. I'm Errol Barnett, in for Vladimir Duthier, who we've been watching this morning on assignment. Welcome to a special edition of CBS News 24/7. Right now, emergency crews are getting their first look at damage left behind by Hurricane Milton. Here's a look at our live radar right now, showing the storm slowly moving out east, but still dumping a huge amount of water on the state. Areas inland are dealing with high winds and are bracing right now for flash flooding. Milton made landfall overnight as a dangerous Category 3 storm around Siesta Key. That's very close to Sarasota. Heavy rains and damaging winds battered most of the state all evening. And take a look at what the strong winds did to the roof of the Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg. This is home of the Tampa Bay Rays. Parts of that roof completely torn to pieces, and that building was meant to serve for thousands of first responders.
Yeah, they're doing
CBS News correspondent Nicole Valdez. She is in Island Park, Florida, and I can see you there standing close to some of the waters. Help us understand what you woke up to this morning.
Errol, good morning. Unfortunately, that dreaded storm surge a reality for so many across Southwest Florida. We talk about inches of water still on the ground, but earlier at the height of the storm, this was up to 3 feet. And you'll notice the community behind me, all these homes dealing with the sort of consequences. In the distance, you can hear a generator whirring. That means power's out. One of many problems so many across the state are now dealing with. Of course, we know that this was a significant storm doing so much damage in many different ways by its either storm surge or flooding, and in some cases, violent tornadoes. More than 100 tornado warnings issued as Hurricane Milton made its way over the Sunshine State. Today, of course, is going to be focused on cleaning up. A lot of
it's sunny there now.
Who live in this community will likely be having to deal with the repercussions here. So trying to clean up, maybe looking at some damage as all this water hopefully starts to recede very soon.
Yeah, and it's a delicate day as we see people gathering their things, assessing their neighborhood, checking on friends and family. But Governor DeSantis did say this morning, don't head into the waters, don't do anything dangerous because power lines are down.
Yeah,
we know
why
that there
is
are many
he
people
standing in
without
the water?
power. So what's the power situation as far as you can tell?
At last check, we were looking at more than 3 million customers in the dark, and that's statewide, as we've noticed, really impacts as far as, really
Okay,
coast to
who's
cities,
still alive?
right? It really was not just one specific city. And
I
think
can't
that
do law and crime,
that
but
is going
I'm
to
gonna try.
challenge as those lines try to get out
They're
today
live
to get
standing
people
in
back
front
on.
of the courthouse.
All right, well, there's in Island Park, Florida.
That's what they're
Please
doing.
stay safe.
They're just standing in front of the
CBS
courthouse.
News Philadelphia meteorologist Kate Byler with the first look
Hold
at
on,
the
let me show
national
you.
forecast. What a day, Kate.
There's nothing
What a
going
day, Nina.
on. There's
What a night,
nothing
Errol. Of
in
course, it was all last
the
night
courthouse.
after Milton made landfall around 8:30 last night near CST, and this went on, the storm raging across Florida. Let's talk about where it is right now and what we can expect as we go through the rest of the day.
Let me stop sharing that one. And this is the one. They're just standing in front of the courthouse. There is nothing going on. That's it. They're standing there. Ah, shit. All they're doing is standing outside the courthouse. I see that. I have it up on my other screen. So what I'll do is, let's see, 10. Yeah, that's all they're doing is just standing there. Anderson got hit last night. I know, Bryant, that's what I said. I said Milton was my uncle's name, your grandfather's name. Everybody has had a storm. Hi, my cousin. How are you doing, sweetie? Uncle Milton. I was, oh no, not Mr. Milton. Let's see. I have a lag someplace, and I don't know why. How? Let me see. Emerson got hit in the face with debris. Oh my God. He's got such a pretty face. Brian, stop it. You do not need baby oil for no reason. Stop that. Oh, okay, they say get in position.
Everybody's moving around.
We're here. I'm trying to move this.
Oh, that's Christians.
Let me make this bigger. Let me put myself back down there. Here we go. Oh, and what's his name just died? Alice Cooper. I was gonna bring that up when I came live. Alice Cooper died. He was a songwriter for Bon Jovi. And guys, we have a new scammer. Her name is Lisa Ann Matthews. And I was going to show you her, but I'll do that at another time. Her name is Lisa Ann Matthews. I'll give you a little background while we're sitting here waiting for this shit. Lisa Ann Matthews has 6 children. She has 3 disabled kids and 3 that are able. They get 3 Social Security checks and food stamps. She has Medicaid, and she has 6 animals. She went live on TikTok because they got an eviction notice in August, and she has to be out by October 16th. And she's asking for help because she raised some money, paid it to the landlord. They won't take it. They want her out. So now she says that she's going to have to get a hotel room. My question is, if you paid the landlord the money and he doesn't want to take it, you've got time with all the checks you have coming in to find another place to live with your 6 kids, your 6 dogs, and your husband. Yep, they said Alice Cooper. I heard that when I was, not heard it, I saw it when I was on a call. It came up on my phone, and they said the songwriter for Bon Jovi, Alice Cooper, died, 66. Yep, songwriter for Bon Jovi, Alice Cooper dies at 66. That's what it says. And I'm like, Alice Cooper was only 66 years old? So, rest in peace. Levante now listed with Dittler from the Aaron Hall house on 3. Now, yes, Drea. Aaron Hall was nothing, and I used to like him. Couldn't stand Teddy Riley, but I liked Aaron Hall until I saw him in action. It can't be the same Alice Cooper. They said the songwriter for Bon Jovi, Alice Cooper, 66. The other Alice Cooper, I think, is way older than 66. He has to be in his 70s. Late 70s. They have 3 checks, food stamps, Medicaid, and a husband, but they got evicted. Maybe they evicted them for the 6 dogs. Well, they got either 4 dogs and 2 cats, or 4 cats and 2 dogs, but they have 6 animals. Yes, Diddy asked for that. He asked for it. I saw that yesterday, but I didn't know they were going to court today. He asked for a speedy trial. His lawyer said he wanted a speedy trial. Yeah, Alice Cooper is 76, so a different Alice Cooper. Thank you, Wisco Gal. But that's kind of weird. You got 2 men named Alice Cooper? Look. Hi, Jody B. Jody B says, hello, Heidi, and everyone. I'm driving, so can't text after this one. Okay, guys, has anybody heard from Maria? Last night, she told me they lost power, but the power came back on. Has anybody heard from Maria today? Hi, Christine. Yes, Alice Cooper, Bon Jovi songwriter. And Jack Ponte that died. It's Alice Cooper and Bon Jovi songwriter Jack Ponte. Okay, they said thank you, Christine. They worded it wrong. I guess it's for clickbait. My landlord only wants the entire payment or they'll give you vacate papers. Yep. She's okay. Thank you, Kareem. Thank you. And Sarah Mother Z, she's good too.
All right, you got Ebony with you?
Okay, there's another hurricane coming. I hope you. Okay. Oh, that's his daughters.
Send your father.
How's your father?
Have you guys spoken to your father? Have you spoken to your father?
Two daughters and the grandmother went to see him the other day. That's his other son. That's his other. Look, his sons are coming in.
Stay together.
Kristen has no ass at all. Is that Diddy Combs coming? Is that Diddy coming?
I don't understand why all these people
Oh my goodness. Excuse me. Kids just showed up. I think I would rather use AP than Law and Crime.
Hey, let the truck out.
I got a track for in the car.
Damn, everybody is there. Everybody is there. Jesus Christ. AP, CNN, TMZ. Oh, and Russell Brand. Guys, Russell Brand and Diddy had a really, really close relationship too. Look at this big, beautiful dog. That's the lab, right? Is that a lab? That is a beautiful dog. Look how shiny his coat is. Well, his daughters and his mom went to visit him this week in jail. His two daughters and his mom actually went to jail to see him.
Should I start feeding? Wait, should I start feeding or are we doing stand-up first?
Hi, Miss Sweet Tooth. Thank you, Miss Sweet Tooth. The way they have it worded is so wrong. And I just read it just like they wrote it. Hi, Stacy in Alberta. How are you? Is that a black lab? I had a chocolate lab. Is that a black lab?
These are his twin daughters.
Guys, I'm getting you a puppy. I really am. I gotta come back in December.
This one right here, she goes to NYU right now.
He needs Batman. My cousin.
So this is the one.
Hi, Brian. Hi. Thank you. I thought it looked familiar. Thank you. So guys, let me tell you, if this hearing goes all day, I'm going to have a heart attack. So if you hear me typing, which I'm going to turn my mic off. Stacy, it's great to see you. I'm thinking about taking a ferry over to Canada. I'm seriously thinking about driving to Vancouver and taking a ferry over. You're not supposed to be petting that dog.
You out here being a good dog?
I don't know why I'm
Oh, I
screaming.
see it right there. How long has Rosalind been a dog?
They don't let you.
See, I got my dog.
Not a dog. Puppy.
See, they normally don't
How
let
long
you
did you
pet
say?
those dogs.
She's been working almost 7 years now.
Oh, wow.
Not with me. The
Not
guy-
with you.
One of the Homeland Security cops
Yeah.
is her original handler. I go, I thought you went to corrections. She goes, I did. Then I switched over to Homeland. I go, okay. But she recognized me.
Really?
So let me see.
Recognize the Homeland Security.
So Diddy's
Nice
mom
little
put out a
canine
statement.
dog.
Well, he used to work for us.
Oh.
And then when he left the company, he has to get the dog back. So then I got her after he left. Right, Rosie?
So what does Rosalind do most of the time?
Janice Combs.
Explosions?
Explosives.
Explosives? Okay.
Yeah, we have the checkpoint on the
He
outside
says
building.
that her son
For all the trucks and everything.
is
And
not
with the devil's
guilty
games, too.
any of
Going
those
later, home
allegations.
opener.
Oh, wow.
Sit.
I'm like, Janice needs to
Aw.
take this
Good girl.
all the way back.
Yeah. Our audience loves the dog.
Sit.
She said that she's devastated, saddened by the allegations made against her son. Really, Janice? Really? Were you saddened when you saw him kicking and dragging Cassie? She said, it is heartbreaking to see my son judged not for the truth, but for a narrative created out of lies. To bear witness what seems to be like a public lynching of my son before he's had the opportunity to prove his innocence is pain too unbearable to put into words. That's what she said. Like every human being, my son deserved to have his day in court, to finally share his side, and to prove his innocence. Did she make a statement after she saw her lovely son kicking and dragging Cassie? She says, I'm not here to portray my son as perfect because he is not. He's made mistakes in his past. Girl, this was going up to the time he got arrested, as we all have. My son may not have been entirely truthful about certain things, such as denying he has ever gotten violent with an ex-girlfriend when the hotel surveillance showed otherwise. Girl, stop. Sometimes the truth and a lie become so closely intertwined that it becomes terrifying to admit one part of the story, especially when that truth is outside the norm. Girl, okay, is too complicated to believe. This is why I knew my son's civil legal team opted to settle the ex-girlfriend's lawsuit instead of contesting it until the end, resulting in a ricochet effect as the federal government used this decision against my son by interpreting it as an admission of guilt. Miss Janice, your son has been being investigated since 2008, Janice. I'm not even going to call you Miss Janice. Janice, your son has been investigated since 2008. How do you explain the drugs and the guns they found in his home? And all the videotapes. How do you explain all of this shit away, Janice? Hi, Dusty Rusty. So now they're saying that the feds, the Homeland Security, is leaking evidence. I said when CNN released that shit, it came from the feds. That's what I said. That was my intuition. It says it is important to recognize that none of us, regardless of our status, are immune to fear or mistakes. Not being entirely straightforward about one issue does not mean my son is guilty of the repulsive allegation and the grave charges leveled against him. Many individuals who were wrongfully convicted and later exonerated had their freedom taken away from them, not because they were guilty of the crime that they were accused of, but because they didn't fit the image of what society considers to be a good person. History has shown us how individuals can be wrongfully convicted to confess actions or mistakes. Baby. Janice, I'm gonna do one better for you. I'm gonna need you to sit all the way in the damn corner and see while all of these people were cutting ties with your son, because the FBI had been investigating and talking to these people. Do you think when they raided your son's home, they didn't have probable cause? Did you think they weren't going to a grand jury with this evidence? A grand jury indicted your son for the shit they saw on those recordings, the blackmail, the bribery. What about your grandson, Janice, shooting someone in the bathroom and LA not doing nothing about it? Now they're being investigated. Janice, girl, take a seat somewhere. Oh my God, the dealer is about to comb Big Mama's hair. I allegedly. We're looking at Sean Diddy Combs stuff. He's asking for a speedy trial. He wants it March or April. Yep. So, Drea, I wasn't crazy. She was dating Gene, or was she just having sex with Gene? I know she was dating someone who worked for her son. So, Janice, you were married to a man who was taken out by other gangsters. You know, you went to the funeral in a mink coat and all this other shit. Get out of here with that bullshit. Your son is guilty. Guilty. Your son decided to settle because I do believe that Cassie had that tape as well. He's going to have it. I keep telling y'all, when the feds come, they have a case. When the state comes, they arrest you and then build their case. The feds already have a case. Let's be clear. Oh, she wanted Gene. Which, okay, somebody was dating. Let me see whose mother was that. Hold on. Whose mother was dating someone that was younger than her that worked for, it wasn't Usher's mom. It's not Drake's mom. Oh my God. I'm trying to remember. It is Janice. Janice was dating somebody that worked for P. Diddy. She's representing Talia Graves so far. Hi, Christoph. Yeah, Gene is a liar too. Roger Bond. Gene is a liar. Gene is just as guilty as everybody else. Thank you, Dreadhead. It was one of them, and it had to be his mom, because I kind of remember that. I'm like, how the hell would you be dating somebody that worked for your son? It was the bodyguard. It was one of them. It was one of them she was dating or sleeping with. And what's his face mother too? The basketball player. She was actually sleeping with one of his friends. I'm like, are you kidding? My sons would kill me. I'm gonna look that one up because I kind of remember that. I wish Danny was here. But she would definitely remember. I had fun on my members live last night. I really did. Okay, thank you, Dreadhead. Booty call. Yes, that's what. Even a booty call, my son would kill me. With one of their friends, girl. Yes, Janice knows a lot. LeBron James' mother, thank you. I want Janice to be looked at next. She knows shit too. Why the NBA always lists her name? Exactly. Good morning, Flower Power. I was thinking about you earlier. Good morning. Dating your son's friends. You crazy? I would have to, have to date him on the down low. Thank you, Tina. I'm sure the bee wasn't happy with what I had to say. I really did. But I don't want to hear nothing about her not going real life. Ever. Okay, guys. I'm going to see how long this shift is going to go on. All of this for one damn man. Okay, they're moving away from it.
Jesse Weber, and welcome to our special coverage here at Law and Crime of Sean Diddy Combs, as today the indicted rapper and music mogul will appear in Manhattan federal court for a status hearing. You're seeing a live shot outside of that federal courthouse right now, and it's important to set the stage about what's going to happen today. Well, first, I'll tell you what's happening with Combs. He's facing three serious federal charges: racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution, namely that he's leading a criminal enterprise using his business and associates to engage in all sorts of criminal activities, including
when
using
still
force,
got the
fraud,
live feed
coercion
going.
to cause women to engage in sexual activity, including sex acts with male sex workers. These are those so-called freak-offs. So these are the charges he's facing. What's going to be happening today? It's an important hearing. This is where we believe that prosecutors and his defense attorneys will address some serious...
Hold on, I'm sorry.
In this case, according to the parties, they submitted a joint letter to the court talking about this. We're looking at several terabytes of electronic material, cell phones, laptops, business records, physical evidence. What those materials contain, we do not know yet, but it's being shared to the other side. And therefore, there's going to be questions of how long it will take to extract the data. Will it is RICO charges. How long it will take to be turned over to the defense. But it's also possible we can learn more about a potential trial date. It seems that Sean Combs wants this to happen in the spring of 2025. We may learn some other deadlines in this case. And there may also be an issue, so be on the lookout for this, that will be brought up. This defense filed last night something very interesting. They said they are looking for a hearing to determine if the government engaged in misconduct.
Yep, if they're
More
giving out
specifically,
evidence.
did the Department of Homeland Security, the agents that raided Sean Combs' properties, were they the ones who leaked the 2016 surveillance video that appears to show Combs beating his ex-girlfriend Cassandra Ventura? It's quite the
appears to show? Did he just say appears to show? It shows it.
Accusation, and we'll talk more about it, but to be clear, what we don't think is going to be brought up today is the issue of bail. Combs' defense attorneys, they have appealed his denial of bail, his pretrial detention, to a higher court, the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. We'll see how that shakes up, but I think there's going to be more issues that are pressing today. And what makes today's hearing also interesting is this is now in front of a new judge.
Yep, a new
the
judge.
New judge assigned to Combs' case out of the Southern District of New York is the Honorable Arun Subramanian. So it'll be interesting to see how he now handles these matters in a very, very high-profile case. Now, unfortunately, although we have cameras outside the courthouse, there are no cameras allowed in federal court. I could talk day and night about how I think that's a mistake.
It is a mistake.
Subject for a different day, but here's the thing we do have. Long Crimes Elizabeth Milner, she is in that courthouse right now. She's going to be in that courtroom. She will come out later, report back to us live about her observations from the day's proceedings. But we're also going to be following live updates of what is happening inside that courtroom. We're going to break it down for you. I have terrific guests, and also we're going to take your questions. So if you have questions about what is happening in the Sean Combs case, if you have questions about what is happening today, submit them on YouTube. We will answer them for you right now. Okay, I have some great guests to talk about this. I have a great selection of guests that are coming out in the next couple of hours. I'm joined right now by Ryan McMonagle, the defense attorney of Philadelphia, a very acclaimed attorney, frequent guest on Sidebar, and also Ava Sullivan, former prosecutor, is in studio with me as well, another frequent guest on Sidebar. Great to have you both here. Brian, I'll start with you. What are you anticipating for today's hearing? Because I think there's a lot of issues. This is the beginning part of the case, but a lot of preliminary issues that need to be worked out. What are you going to be looking for?
I think it's going to really boil down to a scheduling discussion. This judge is going to want to obviously show that he means business in terms of putting deadlines out and having them meet them. I think that the defense's urgency in this, in terms of bringing this case to trial, is expected. He's in custody. He's going through hell. They want this case tried as soon as they can. But it's a case with significant discovery issues, terabytes of information, questions whether or not they're even going to be able to access some of this discovery. Imagine the timing of getting it and then the time it's going to take to go through every single piece of it from the defense perspective.
I'm going to go over to the chat and I'm going to put in the chat, do you think that he paid to have Tupac and Biggie taken out? Let me see if they answer that.
The government's had this information for a while. The defense wants it tomorrow. And I think that, part and parcel of that, what'll happen today is the judge at least getting input from the parties, as he already has by way of a letter, how quick they want to try this case, what kind of deadlines they want to set, and how soon he can schedule those deadlines so they can be met.
So, Ava, I'm going to read you a portion of what the defense said in this joint letter to the court. And it says, the defense intends to ask the court to require the government to immediately produce certain categories of information, namely copies of Mr. Combs' electronic devices that were seized over 6 months ago and at the time of his arrest, and certain categories of requested Brady material, and to timely review and produce the remaining Rule 16 material in their possession. So what does that mean exactly?
Well, in regards to the Brady material, what that means is evidence that the prosecutors are going to potentially use against Combs. One of the things is he is able to, and also it's required that they produce all evidence to Combs that is going to be used against him. So he's able to evaluate it and prepare a proper defense.
And look, Brian,
I gotta wait 5 minutes.
We don't know what this video evidence is, but the defense wants it. They want him, like you said, they want to go to trial. This is what they wrote in the letter.
Look, they're saying, where are all the friends now? Lock him up. Love her hair. We don't have enough evidence to bring Diddy down. What? I hope the diddler gets got by Big Leroy. Justice for Tupac, Aaliyah, Left Eye, Michael Jackson. Oh, I don't think I need to put that in the chat. They're saying it. Okay, here we go.
Mr. Combs continues to assert his right.
This guy says, Matt Clark says, Diddy is finally getting what he deserves, even though it's years later. We lost Pac and Biggie. Well, damn, I don't have to put it in the chat.
Speedy trial and intends to request a trial date of April or May 2025, and as consistent with the court's trial schedule. That feels like around the corner when you're talking about terabytes and terabytes of information, and they are saying we're putting the government's feet to the fire. We want all this material as soon as possible. Is that ambitious? April, May 2025?
Overly ambitious. And the reason for the ambition is pretty self-evident. He's incarcerated. This is a celebrity, multi-millionaire who is incarcerated, and they want to get this done. I think it's ambitious because the turnaround is going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to go through all of this evidence to see, what exculpatory evidence is there. They don't want to look at what the government thinks is important. They want to look at everything so they can find out what's important for the defense here. What's interesting is, though, that the most important pieces of evidence, besides that which is electronic and can be turned over, we're going to have, Jenks material. And, for a defense lawyer, the most important evidence in the case are the FBI 302s and the grand jury testimony of witnesses.
Thank you.
Who are the witnesses going to be? What have they said to the government? How many times have they been interviewed by the government? That evidence we won't see until perhaps no sooner than 60 days before the trial date, or maybe within 2 weeks of the trial date, depending upon how lenient or conservative the judge is.
Dre,
my understanding is, especially with federal.
You're absolutely right. He wants to know the names, okay? Grand jury stuff is sealed as far as witnesses and who came forward and said what. He wants to know the names. Now, the exculpatory stuff, everything they've gathered, they have to file the motion to get all of this information. They should have did that since this attorney said it when he was arrested. So this shit is crazy. They want to know who's talking. Exactly.
Courts. The transparency is a lot more limited than if it was a state prosecution. But I mean, we could read between the lines, and I think even the defense suggested it in their filings that victim number one with respect to that sex trafficking charge is Cassandra Ventura. So people have been saying she could be the star witness. We have an update for court. As I said, I'm going to provide everybody updates as this comes in. First of all, Sean Combs has been brought into the courtroom. Apparently, he came in through a side door, side holding cell door. He is wearing jail pants. He is wearing a T-shirt. And he was seen smiling and hugging his lawyer. So as we talk about Sean Combs, the rap mogul, the business mogul, fall from grace, to see him in an outfit like this, to see him in this environment is very, very different. And Ava, we have a question from YouTube as well. So anybody who has questions about the case, questions about what's happening today, please submit them on YouTube. This is from Lori Crabtree. Is there a statute of limitations on some of the video evidence found? Meaning, can you not introduce some of the evidence because it's time barred?
Not federal.
Now, we know under the Mann Act that a lot of these allegations that go back in time.
And Mann Act is sex trafficking, right?
Right.
Okay.
A lot of these allegations that go back in time, you can still prosecute them. And so under that, a lot of the evidence that may be 10, 15 years old, we are able to still use that evidence in the court.
Brian, one of the things I wanted to ask you about is I think there could be a discussion today about the defense's allegation that the Department of Homeland Security, to be clear, Department of Homeland Security, not the United States prosecutors, not the prosecutors from the Southern District of New York, but the Department of Homeland Security leaked that 2016 video of Sean Combs allegedly beating Cassandra Ventura. I say allegedly, but looks pretty, and he admitted what it is anyway. But the point is, if that becomes a topic of conversation today, how do you think that's going to shake out? Because they're saying we want an evidentiary hearing to find out who leaked it. The prosecutors have said it didn't come from us. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a great idea. Anything you can do to try and circumvent what I think is a smoking gun in at least the case as it relates to, the character of this fella. I think it's a good idea for the defense. Try and get a little bit of a fishing expedition, going on in terms of who leaked it. More importantly, at some point in time, they're going to need to get a fair and impartial jury. And this might just be the first in a series of motions they file trying to keep the government from leaking evidence that's going to be important to this case. Anybody who saw that particular video walked away from it disgusted. And obviously, people are going to be brought into a courtroom pretty soon. Anything you can do to stop it, you try and stop it.
Yeah, sorry, Brian, your signal went out for one quick second, but no, I hear you. I hear exactly what you're saying, what the motivation might be. Ava, I'm going to read you a portion of the letter. This is from their filing. This is from Sean Combs' defense attorneys. Mm-hmm. As detailed below, the CNN leak was but one of a long and documented history of leaks and false statements made with one purpose: to savage Mr. Combs' reputation prior to trial. While the government's misconduct in this case is particularly egregious, it is unfortunately part of a trend in this district. The government has learned that it can strategically leak information with impunity. This court should exercise its authority to prohibit these underhanded tactics, which severely undermine a criminal defendant's right to a fair trial. And they not only say this video was leaked, but also the number of comments that were allegedly attributed to DHS agents talking about who they're interviewing and what material they're seizing. They have a point?
I think they're doing what a good defense attorney is trying to do.
Stop this for a minute. There's a tape that they're threatening to leak right now of another mogul that has more money than Sean, and that tape was seized from P. Diddy's home.
Get the smoking gun evidence out of there any way you can. Now, the prosecutors did a reply letter, and in their reply, they said, look, the video leak didn't come from us, didn't come from the Department of Homeland Security. It wasn't part of the evidence we had for the grand jury. So your argument, although you're more than able to make it, and you have every right to, as a good defense attorney would, there isn't a leg to stand on. And I think that raises an interesting question with the defense strategy here. If they're bringing up, tactics, saying prosecutorial misconduct, they better make sure that it is correct, because if it's not, they could become less credible in front of the judge. And that could shape the way this trial plays out for the defense if you lose the trust of a judge.
Well, and by the way, as I said, new judge here would go over this issue. But talking about, because we're getting comments now from our YouTubers, and Brian, I want to go to you about this. This is from Keanu Kane on YouTube. Do you think they will allow bail this time, and is he considered a high risk? First, before I throw this to you, Brian, to be clear, we don't believe that the issue of bail is going to come up in front of Judge Subramanian right now, that this is now going to be decided by a different court, a higher court, the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. But having said that, I read their brief, Brian, and I don't know if you had the opportunity to either, but what they basically suggest, and I'm going to summarize it, is we put together a very attractive bail package, $50 million bail, home confinement, take away access to his phone, take away access to the internet, visitor logs. He will be monitored by a third-party outside security team. We will put together any conditions possible in order to make sure that he is not a danger to society, as prosecutors claim. And they also spend a large portion of their brief saying he knew he was under investigation since January and had his attorneys reach out to prosecutors. He gave up his passport. He's been doing everything in his power to be cooperative. He came to New York to surrender himself.
I told you guys,
and
he knew. His attorneys had a head up. He knew he was under investigation. He knew his homes were going to be raided. They gave them a heads up. They knew. They knew. They probably told them that morning they couldn't get the shit out the house, but they knew. That's what I'm saying. This isn't new to him. He knows that he's been being investigated.
Not only a fair bail package, he's been doing the right thing, but what they also suggest is the two judges who denied him bail previously, they were relying on unproven allegations from the prosecution. They're saying he was contacting witnesses, but there's not definitive proof of that. It was actually not as nefarious as they claim.
Oh my God.
There are people who are reaching out to him. It was regarding the civil lawsuits. So as this now takes its way to a second court, a higher court, what do you think?
Well, I thought the argument they made the first time they made it was an excellent one. I thought they overcame what is a statutory presumption in these type of cases. The problem they've got now, though, they're in a circuit court, and the circuit court is really going to be looking at whether or not there was an abuse of discretion. And there is a lot of discretion vested in the district court judges, the ones that rule on this case, to make these kind of bail detention decisions that they make every day. And so while I think it's a really legitimate argument, and there's certainly circumstances that could be put in place that could protect everyone in this case and allow him to maintain his liberty, it's always a difficult task to overcome a district judge's finding on the issue of detention.
Yep. In other words, it wasn't so outside the realm of...
He knew. There are leaks all over the place. Sean Combs, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Love, whatever we want to call him, Puffy, has police, politicians, and everything else in his pocket, and he pays them. He knows. This man is not caught off guard. Why do you think he settled with Cassie within 24 hours? Why do you think he did that? He was trying to beat everything else coming out. This man is a criminal, just like his dad. Except he's a criminal, except for he didn't charge them for the drugs. He just supplied it to them, so they can have freak offs.
Understanding why the judge did this, right? It's not like it made absolutely no sense. You take allegations, you take the facts of this case, you take the weight of the evidence, you could say that the judge was justified, and that's really what you're looking at here. Now, I want to give everybody an update. As I mentioned, we're going to provide you updates throughout this hearing as it progresses, and we plan to stay here pretty much until this hearing's over, and even afterwards. So the hearing has officially started. Combs' new defense attorney, Anthony Rico, wanted to make it clear to the court that Mr. Combs' mother and his children traveled here from Florida and are seated behind me. Now, that's interesting because we talked earlier in the week, and by the way, to let everybody know, what you're seeing is the best any of us can do. There are no cameras allowed in that courtroom. Nope. This is not like a standard law and crime trial. I wish it was. I wish there were cameras in there. But federal courts, New York courts, they don't allow cameras in the courtroom. It's really a big disappointment. So we are going to do our best to relay to you in real time what's happening. And of course, as I mentioned, Elizabeth Milner's in there, and she'll come out later. So that's interesting that his family's there. Obviously, his family's there. But his mom, earlier this week, and we did a sidebar episode on this, released a statement. And she basically told the world, don't judge him, allow him to present his defense. But also she said, he lied. He lied. He slept when he said he lied. And then he apologizes for the Cassandra Ventura video. He lied. I thought it was very interesting his mom released that statement through her lawyer, of course.
And I think lying versus committing sex trafficking and RICO-type charges are two very different things. The law says you're innocent until proven guilty, and his mom being there could be a show of her belief that my son is innocent of these indictment charges until he's proven.
Yeah.
And I'm going to support my son.
Yeah, I understand that. And look,
she
came out with that.
She's going to support him anyway. That's her son. But you're not going to sit there and tell me you didn't know the shit that your son was doing. That is your son. No one can tell me anything about my son. I've said this before. When a teacher called me and said, my son, I was like, I know he would say this, this, and this. That I know he didn't say. Show me he said it. They couldn't. He goes, well, I thought it was him. It was a bunch of kids behind me. I'm like, don't ever call me with that bullshit. You know your children. She knows what kind of cutthroat, disgusting man this is, and the way he treated every one of the women that are around him like they were possessions.
That statement after the charges, after the civil lawsuits. And look, unfortunately, she's, I think, 84 years old.
Don't sit there and act like
she probably wants to get this statement in, and it's her son. So I understandable that she said that, but at the same time, They're very serious accusations, and a number of people have levied very, very serious claims against them. Okay, so I have a question for both of you. I will start with you, Brian. This is from Nicholas Winter on YouTube. What are your views on federal court not allowing transparency via press coverage inside the courtroom? Would the video of the hearing be made public when the case is closed?
I couldn't agree more with the view that there ought to be access. The citizens have a right to see. They have a right to know. They want to see justice being made. And they don't have that opportunity in federal courts. We don't even have that opportunity in the state courts of Pennsylvania. And I know what the rules allow for. I know why those rules exist. But I think we're now at an age, a point in time in our nation's history, where our citizens require it. They want to be able to see it so they can believe it. And they want to have trust in the system. And I think that would give them at least some confidence that what they hear, what they read is what their eyes are telling them. So why not?
Want to see it.
And not everybody's able to read an article about what happened, to have that visual medium, to have a clip unedited and put in context, of course, would really help provide that transparency. And no, there's not going to be a copy of the video after the case. There will be transcripts. We can see transcripts. That's probably the best we'll get. Courtroom sketches, as we're seeing. Ava, I'll give you the opportunity to respond to that as well. But if you want to have another question for you. Actually, you answer this. Nicholas Winter asked for your opinion too. What's your opinion on that?
I don't think either of you are going to like my opinion. I think that it shouldn't be open to the public because the most important thing is the privacy of the victims, as well as to ensure that the charge, no matter how egregious the charges are, you have a right to a fair trial. And I think opening up to the public, having cameras in there could really impede on that right.
Brian, I want to give you an update about what's happening in court. Literally what we just talked about, the speedy trial. So the judge said the defense requested a trial in April or May of 2025. The judge says they can give them either month, and the judge offered May 5th. The defense said they will take May 5th, and the government says its case will take 3 weeks. Do you imagine this really happening in May of 2025? Less than a year after he was arrested and indicted?
It's unbelievable. It would really be the absolute unusual situation with the representations made about the amount of discovery in this case. But I get it. And, they have an obligation to not only protect, Mr. Combs, but to see to his wishes. And what he wants is his liberty. Now, if there's a determination, I can assure you, by the circuit court that he's going to be released, they may want to punt this case until maybe 2 years from now.
Right.
But while he's in custody, I can assure you they're going to be pushing for that May trial date. And guess what? This judge is basically saying, you want it? I'll give it to you. But don't come crying to me, 4 months from now if it's not working for your schedule. So interesting.
Yeah, look, I'm of the opinion, and I will back this up any day. I think he really thought he was going to make bail, be on house arrest for 1 year, 2 years, push it out as long as he wants. But now the fact, and I'll give you another update here, Ava. So the defense says it's going to take 1 week to defend. And that seems to me, right, he's going to be locked up, try to get him tried as soon as possible, put this behind him. They feel confident. They feel confident in their defense against these charges right now. And we've kind of heard a flavor of it, right? That all of these freak-offs were consensual. But doesn't that signal to you that the defense, at least at this point, feels confident in proving his innocence?
Yeah, but the defense might not also have all the evidence.
They don't.
The prosecutor in their letter said there was several terabytes of information. To break that down, if you had 2 terabytes of video footage, that would amount to 40 days of watching the video footage nonstop just to get through those 2 terabytes. And 1 terabyte, we know, is about 500,000 photos.
Yep. Well, the government has just said, the prosecutors, that they can complete production of discovery, meaning turning it over to Sean Combs, by the end of the year. So before January. So if you give everything to the defense by January, can they adequately prepare a case?
Let's stop this.
That gives you 4 or 5.
They can't. You have all of this evidence. You have all of these photos. Unless you have, I'm going to say, a team of people, 12, 15, working around the clock, you're not going to be able to make a May 5th date. You're not going to be able to do it. This is the dumbest shit I've heard. If they're going to give it all to him by January, come on now.
5 months to review the amount of evidence. Like I said, the videos alone could take 2 months just to look at them every hour of every day for 2 months. You better have a great legal team behind you.
And that's for the current charges. If these charges are upgraded, if he's hit with charges related to minors, as some of the allegations in the civil suits have alleged, this whole case changes. The whole defense changes. I imagine that they can't go to trial in May so quickly. But with the current charges here, Brian, again, that part's interesting. That part's interesting, right? Because the government knows right now if they plan to issue a superseding indictment, right? So would they give any indication? I wouldn't think this May date's going to work, Your Honor. I can't tell you why, but I think that something's going to happen in the next month or so. They can't say that, right?
Yeah, they don't usually, and I don't think they would here, certainly. I had been expecting a superseding indictment in this case from the minute I first read the indictment. I was stunned that there were no other defendants. I was stunned that there weren't any charges relative to minors. But TBD, if there is no change, meaning if there is no superseding indictment, the defense will get what they want. I just don't know at the end of the day if that's what they're going to want. You want time to prepare. You want time to go through everything. As Ava has said, it would be a Herculean task to go through all this stuff and to find the stuff you're looking for. And things change, I will tell you. January will come, and we'll see some new developments, and that April or May trial date may quickly move if there's additional evidence that's provided, if there's a change in circumstances. But it's pretty clear they want to try the case now because he's in jail. Simple as that.
Yeah, but like you said, if that changes, if the Second Circuit lets him out on bail, like you said,
I got a whole nother thought.
It's 100% true. Now, to give everybody some more updates, they're discussing now discovery and disputes. The defense says we're trying to keep them to a minimum. We have an active dialogue with the government. I don't have any disputes at the moment. The government has said that there were 96 devices that were seized in those March raids from Los Angeles and Miami, and also when he was at that private airport in Florida. And the government is extracting material over the next 30 days. So it kind of gives us a time frame of this. Now, I want to, Ava, turn to some questions about the jury, the potential jury here. So this is from Danielle Taylor on YouTube. Where are they going to find a jury? And that is also another question we had as well from another viewer. I'm going to try to find out who said that. Oh yeah, this is from Jane on YouTube. How's the court going to select a jury, given the fact that most people in the world know of him?
Yeah.
That is the question of the hour that everybody is asking. I think one of the issues here is he is one of the most famous hip hop artists of all time. So how are you going to get a jury that's fair and impartial that hasn't heard about the Diddy case? I don't know. I think that it's going to come down to the jury questioning when they get the jury there, doing the voir dire and asking the question of, can you be fair and impartial? The test isn't whether or not anybody's heard of the case. Right. I'm sure everyone probably has, but whether or not you can set aside any bias that you may have against Sean Combs and be fair and impartial. And I'm sure when they do the voir dire, we're going to see a lot of challenges to the jury pool, and this is going to be a long, drawn-out process.
Well, that's the point when the defense makes to say that this video, Brian, of him purportedly beating Cassandra Ventura, everybody saw that video.
Everybody.
And that is going to be very hard to forget. That'll be very hard to put away. Now, the defense says, Brian, I'm curious, they say you're looking at this video, you're saying it's evidence of her escaping a freak-off. This was a couple that had a very tumultuous relationship. They both abused drugs. This was a domestic spat. This was an incident of domestic violence, but it's not evidence of a sex trafficking. It's not evidence of a criminal enterprise. Think of that.
It's not the only. He's done this to Cassie. He did it to Kim Porter. He's done it to Mary J. He did it to Lil Kim. This is him. This is how he treats women.
One of the motions you're going to see here is to exclude that video for that very reason, that it has nothing to do with the crimes charged. This was no different from him getting into a fist fight on the street or a fight with someone in his own family. It was domestic violence. It had nothing to do with the crimes charged. And quite frankly, they may have a legitimate leg to stand on here. It is so prejudicial that there's going to have to be significant probative value for it to come into evidence in this case. And they will monumentally move heaven and earth to try and keep that evidence out, I can assure you.
Going back to an update, so the government still talking about discovery, the material in this case, that it's going to take some time and specific tools to extract all of the data. Some devices were damaged. What does that process contain? What does that process entail, I should say, Ava, when you get a voluminous amount of material, email accounts, cell phones, laptops, video surveillance footage, electronic data? How does the government work on extracting that information? Who do they work with?
You're going to have a team of IT experts that are very good at going in, getting the data out, but it's a process. It's going to take a while to do it.
Brian, question for you. This is from Daniela3984 on YouTube. Is it possible for Cassie, Cassandra Ventura, to testify against Combs even though they settled outside of court?
Yes.
And just to let everybody know, she filed her lawsuit in November of 2023, settled with him the day after for an undisclosed amount, for undisclosed details. What is your take on that? Can she testify?
Yes, she can.
Sure, she could be compelled to testify by the prosecution. I mean, that was a civil agreement.
It doesn't matter if she signed an NDA. It doesn't matter anything about that. The federal government, like he's telling you, can compel her to testify. That NDA is out the damn window. It's gone. It's gone. She can't do anything about it. If she doesn't testify, she can go to jail.
And it certainly has legitimacy within the civil courts, but this is a criminal prosecution. They'll issue a subpoena, they'll compel her to testify. Period.
Yep. Another follow-up question for you, Brian.
Exactly.
This is from Ashley Glass on YouTube. How many times does he get to appeal for bail? So just to let everybody know, first there was a magistrate judge who denied bail. Then a district court judge denied bail. Now he's taking it up to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. If the Second Circuit Court of Appeals denies it, where can he appeal it next, and how many times can he keep appealing it?
It's over.
It's over.
I've never seen an appeal beyond the circuit court go anywhere. The next place to go is to the United States Supreme Court, and they're not taking on any kind of a bail motion. So this will be it. The circuit court will rule, and whatever that ruling is, that will be your answer.
Can the circumstances change, Ava? For example, if some of the allegations put forward by the prosecutors about him contacting witnesses, or some other development happens that changes the circumstances, can he appeal for bail one more time? If you don't know that, I'll ask Brian. Let me ask Brian. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, you would really need a change of circumstances.
No.
Sure. If you found evidence of innocence, if you found evidence that a typical case somewhere somebody was somewhere else at the time of the crime, a lot of things could change. But just on the issue of where you can go for help on appeal, they can't go any higher than the circuit court with any legitimacy.
Ava, I'll turn to you now. Do you think that they make good arguments for the application that he should be granted pretrial release? As I mentioned, what he would say is a very attractive bail package. Throughout his appeal, he said that a lot of these conversations, he wasn't obstructing justice. He was, first of all, they said that him denying the civil lawsuits, that can't be a form of obstruction of justice. He was not, as soon as he found out somebody was a grand jury witness, he stopped contacting them. A lot of people, he said, reached out to him regarding the civil suits. And I think the bigger question put forward by him is, how can you detain him when these are mere allegations that aren't backed up by more evidence that
but
he
it has
been reaching
nothing
out
to
people,
do with his lawsuit.
trying to reach out to witnesses and
it has
victims.
nothing to do with the
Does
lawsuits.
the government not need more in order to detain him?
I think the bigger question is, how can you ensure that the person with all the money and all the power in the world is going to show up to court? So their bail package, it's a good bail package, but Like they said, he'll surrender his passport. We don't know if he has other passports. There are countries where you could go and pay $200,000, become a citizen, get another passport.
Why didn't he do it in the past few months? He could have done it.
Yeah, he's been
He didn't do it.
traveling all
He surrendered
over the
his
place.
passport even before he had to.
Maybe he believed that it wasn't as bad as it is right now.
No, he knew. It was bad.
Here's a question for you, Brian, as we wait for more updates from the court. This is from Alicia Fall. Why haven't there been charges brought towards Diddy's employees and other artists?
Thank you.
Yeah, well, the only way you could bring other charges if they were part of a conspiracy, if they took any actions, any criminal actions on the part of the conspiracy. So whether there were other artists involved, whether there were other employees involved, they would have to engage in criminal conduct. I am stunned that nobody in his, what I'll call inner circle, who are supposed to have made some of these threats, who are carried out some of these threats, have not been charged as accomplices. That's the
Okay, first let's stop right there. The attorney stated the investigation was still ongoing. Just because they haven't put out another indictment and did another arrest doesn't mean it's not coming. These people are trying to make deals. Tony Buzbee has already said he's had several high-profile people settle lawsuits with his clients. So just because we don't know about him yet doesn't mean it's not coming, because it is.
one thing that has stunned me so far in terms of the brevity of this indictment, why it is just him.
By the way, they said the same thing in the Epstein case, right? If this is a giant, a giant criminal organization, if there's multiple people, why do you only see 2 people being charged for it? But I guess that's the question. If this is a conspiracy, he can't just agree with himself. He's got to agree with other people. You would have to assume, Brian, that they are cooperating witnesses, right?
Same reason.
Well, there's no question about that. It's what's troubling to me is if they are cooperating witnesses, did they simply get immunity? You rarely see that. You see cooperating witnesses coming in and taking guilty pleas, and then cooperating. You rarely see full-blown immunity, and that's why I'm not so sure we won't see a superseding indictment.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I still think it's coming too. Same thing happened in the R. Kelly case. Okay, got another question. So far, no updates from.
Just because we haven't seen it doesn't mean it's not coming. They're cutting deals. They are cutting deals. Trust and believe me, they're cutting deals.
Court, keeping a very careful eye on it, and we also have that feed from outside the courthouse as well. This is from Malel33. Apologize if I mispronounced your name. Malel33. This is about Tony Buzbee. So again, Tony Buzbee is that Texas attorney who announced, I think it was last week, that he is representing hundreds of alleged victims of Sean Combs, and he plans to file 120 lawsuits across the country. Says that at least 25 of them were minors when they were abused by Sean Combs. One of them was a 9-year-old, he claims. This is the question from Malel33. If Buzbee knows things, meaning crimes, could we expect the feds to inquire about those settlements he's doing?
Yeah, I think everything's fair game.
Yep.
Now, he was asked about that. He was asked, about the connectivity between him and the federal government, and he really didn't say. Like, he either didn't know or he didn't say.
And we may not know. I think even if there is a conversation, it's probably not going to be disclosed to the public.
Thank you.
Brian,
Brian,
before I go to you, Brian, about that one, because I'm curious your take on it. A couple of updates. Prosecutor AUSA Johnson, from the airport, 9 devices were seized. From Miami, 36 devices were seized. 29 have been extracted. 17 will be produced in our next production. In LA, 51 were seized. 27 will be produced in our next production. Also, Combs' phone from his arrest in September will also be extracted. Some people would say that seems like really dry, boring news. I will tell you, we have been speculating for months before the arrest and indictment. What did they take? What are they looking at? I think this is a gold mine. We still don't know what they're finding on it or what they will find on it, but I think that's interesting. Now, another update. The Prosecutor Johnson, said that the subpoena returns, we are putting them in a relativity database. Oh, I remember that one. You remember I was a litigator. I remember that. Explain to our audience really what that is real quick.
It's an online database where you store lots of information, and then you have someone go in and code it and check to see if something's responsive or not.
Yeah, I had to do
it's terrible, absolutely terrible.
It's the worst thing. You literally go and check. Okay. Anyway, all right. So they also say, and the judge asked, what about Brady material? Johnson, the prosecutor, says the defense sent us a Brady request. The judge said, at the next conference, I will ask about your progress. The prosecutor said, our investigation continues. Further on, he says, we have a subpoena out to Combs Global. We were reviewing all of the material for privilege. Our filter team, removed some material before the case team can see it. And then the judge said, for motions, I'll give the defense until February 17th or before we are here. And then they next have a next discovery conference on December 18th at 2 p.m.
December 18th.
And now they're going to turn to a defendant's motion. I'll get to that in a second. So, Brian, a lot about discovery here, setting timetables for it, as you said. What do you take away?
Pretty much what I expected. They want to get the case on track, and they want to put dates down that'll be etched in stone where they can take everybody's pulse. December's a pretty good time. There'll be another 2 months for the defense to receive discovery, start reviewing discovery items, know what they don't have. The government's going to have to explain why they haven't turned over whatever they do have left. But this is the kind of timetable you see time and time again with complex cases. So I'm not surprised by it. I would have expected it. This judge is doing it by the numbers, as I think everybody expected him to do.
Now, Mark Agnifilo, who's representing Sean Combs, one member of, I think it's now being teamed his dream team. I don't know.
I called it a dream team.
Mark Agnifilo is asking the court for a gag order. It says that the concern is that the agents have been leaking grand jury information.
Okay, so they're outside the courtroom talking now. He's still talking.
Ava, this is what we anticipated, that they were going to bring that up. What do you make of it?
Absolutely. Right now, it's all speculation that they're making regarding the gag order, and I won't be surprised if the prosecutors also request a gag order against Sean Diddy Combs in order to prevent him from talking to victims.
Ryan, turn it over to you. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, usually it's something that the prosecution requests, gag orders for the defense. And I understand why Mark's doing it. It's the right move. This is a case where they do not want their jury pool exposed to any more comments, any more statements, or any more videos that may be at the disposal of the federal government or whomever turned it over. So, smart move by the defense. I would expect the government to say, sure, we're all in.
Well, Ava, this is the government's response. The government says, this is a live update, is saying, they say the defense is trying to exclude a damning piece of evidence. This is, I believe, regarding the video, the 2016 video.
Yep.
The press statements, they are not from the prosecution team. The government says that it is significant that that's the case. The government is requesting the judge defer any ruling until they get the papers. Thoughts?
Right. And the prosecutors asked for 3 weeks to be able to put together their papers. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's an evidentiary hearing that comes out of this. I mean, they're saying he's not going to have his Sixth Amendment right to a fair trial, and that's something judges take very seriously.
Big question for you. This is from Pixie on YouTube. How much time is Sean Combs looking at if he's convicted of all the charges?
I'll send it to you.
It's like 50.
Well, I think it's I think it's life in prison, if I'm correct. I mean, we're looking at, what, 15 years to life in prison. The racketeering charge could be 20 years. Brian, am I wrong about that? I mean, minimum 15?
Yeah, I mean, somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20, I would think would be a guideline kind of area that he could expect with these kind of charges. So, yeah.
What about life in prison?
This isn't a life case. I can't even fathom that there might even be a possibility that this would be a life case.
Another question. This is from Helena Chavez Adams. Are the sons being looked at? Are the sons being looked into being involved? Now,
Yes.
we know that Justin Combs has been mentioned in the lawsuit. We know Christian Combs is facing his own sexual assault lawsuit. They haven't been charged. They are with their father in court. What do you think? Their role that they may play in this criminal case?
Well, we know that the prosecutor sent out, they said in one of their correspondence, 300 subpoenas, 100 have been turned back. So there may be evidence somewhere in there that the sons are being looked at, but I think right now we're just waiting to see how it all unfolds.
Brian, this is a question that has been a common theme.
Okay, guys,
in
I'm
the
going to have
sidebar.
to go. I put the link in the chat for you guys to go and watch. But as far as Christian and Justin, yes, they are being looked at, not only because of the lawsuits, but because they were at their daddy's events and the parties they were at, and with the testimony and with the stuff that's coming through from these witnesses, they are fully involved. Just like Lil Rod said, Roger Bond has been talking about it. They are fully involved with what their father was doing.
Bars that I've done. This is from Dana Gilson on YouTube. At what point are people able to be legally responsible for not reporting a criminal act that they witness or suspect? Will hotel employees be charged for not reporting potential abuse? This becomes a common question when we talk about whether or not big-time celebrities who maybe were at the parties and noticed something, or at the freak-offs and noticed something.
I'll talk to you
even if they
guys.
didn't engage in criminal behavior, if they saw it and didn't report it, could they be legally responsible?
I don't think there are any charges that could emanate in a federal proceeding for simply witnessing a crime and not